Before we start, let's take a look at a couple attempts. As you can see, I had a couple problems, but now I'm not messing around. My goal is to become as strong as possible in these 100 days. I don't want anything to be able to stand in my way. I need the best armor, I need a ring of fairies, and I need to do a final damage test against a boss. The parasites mod is different now. Parasites just spawn, like there's no longer levels to it. I could run into an ancient parasite, frame one, and that would just be it. I'd be done. So because of this, not only am I not playing in hardcore, but I'm going to be using the ability to teleport. It's only after deaths, and it's only because, just look at it. Just look at the mod pack that I'm playing, alright? I don't want to explain it, I'm doing it, okay? And you know what you should do? So you should subscribe. Seriously, most of you watching aren't subscribed, and it could really help me out. If you want the mod pack that I use in this, you can join the Discord. Yeah, join it. And if you want to support me further, then become a member. Alright, let's get into this mess. But before we get into that, I have a bit of a problem, a bit of an issue. Because what's scarier than a world infested with dragons and parasites? The internet. I need a way to navigate it safely. And that's ExpressVPN. What's a VPN, you may be asking? I got you. A VPN creates a secure tunnel between your device and the internet. In other words, your data is safe. And using my code in the description, that's expressvpn.com/creativinity, you can find out how to get 3 months free safe browsing. And it's really easy to use, which is great because I'm stupid, alright? You literally just have to press a button. It's that simple. I love using ExpressVPN just to watch Netflix shows that you can't get in America. I was watching Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix before it was even released in the US. And all you have to do to get all this for 3 months free is visit the link in the description below. Thank you ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. Day 1, I just died. Like almost instantly. The game just spawned me in the middle of the sea, off the start. It was great. But I gathered all my stuff that I needed and I got started. You know what, I'm feeling pretty secure on this little island I spawned on. It felt pretty nice, so I went ahead and made the executive decision to stay here and make it my home. But I wanted to establish myself early so I could keep this island safe. I decided to focus on gathering food and tons of wool. With all the wool, I could make a bed and some bandages. These bandages would be my lifeline during these 100 days. Because if you didn't know, food doesn't heal you on rlcraft. You have to do it yourself, and not only that, but you have to manage each limb separately, with your head and heart being an instant death if it's depleted. Having these bandages and these stone tools by day 1 was a big deal for me, and I was feeling pretty good. But you can't let your guard down, so I stayed busy and used the remainder of the day to cut down a bunch of trees. Now it's time to secure my base. I really like to go exploring, but nothing you do out there matters if you don't have a base to return to. To safely stash all your stuff. I knew that, and I had bigger plans in mind. I wanted to treat the island itself as my base, so that meant I had to make it as safe as possible. I cut down all the trees to avoid spawning, and I put down a few torches. And then I started a bit of terraforming. I made everything a bit flatter, a bit easier to build on, and a lot easier to defend. I'm feeling a bit anxious at this point. I really want to get out there and see what's around me, but I knew what would happen, so I was able to hold off myself a bit and build a small shack that served as a great cover-up for my illegal activities downstairs. And you'll see what I mean on day 3. Hey look, it's day 3! I'm out of wood and my roof is still incomplete. I'm still exposed to the elements, so I fall back into old habits, and I dug a big spiral staircase that goes all the way down to my main operations. I now had a basement that I could call a decent start, and I literally cannot contain myself any longer, so I need to go explore. And hey, look what's going on up there. Yeah, that's the mod that I added. I find the atlas to be completely useless, so I added a better map. This is the same mod that lets me teleport to my grave. Anyways, I ran into a battle tower, and I'm a big battle tower addict. I love these things, and they're great for loot and XP. This was a reverse battle tower, but I still decided to take it on. My plan was to just hold a choke point. I thought maybe if I could, then I could break the spawners because they can only spawn so many ads. The problem is that I'm bad at this game and it just didn't work. The zombies slowly overran me and I died. Alright, I went back and gathered all my stuff, but I couldn't even go a second because this little special zombie forced me off the tower, and then I drowned while above the water. I don't know how that works. Don't ask me how it works. Alright, I got nothing. Day 4, I wanted to try a different method because what I was doing just wasn't working. I baited all the mobs over here and used my range to make sure that no spiders got up here. This was it. This was the method that I needed. I was even able to handle the surprise reaper that came out of nowhere because I'm trying to get a bit better with my shield. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is why I think teleporting to death is a good feature, because if I can survive this, then I deserve my stuff back. Not only did I get my stuff back, but I also got my first bauble, the bezel, which makes you immune to poison, and that would make this process a whole lot easier. Taking on this thing through day 5 was a very tedious process because I realized that I just, needed to take it slow and not just rush in immediately. Doing this slow, I was able to take down a blight zombie, which is big, and yeah, I did die a couple times, but by the morning of day 6, I had gotten as far as I wanted to go, and I decided that any further would just be unnecessary risk, and I thought I should get out while I still could. I went back home day 7. I made a second crafting table, just kind of felt like I needed it. I was gonna store my stuff, but then I thought, what a terrible idea. I would lose everything to one mob if I stored everything up here. So I made, not a terrible decision for once, and I set up my secret stash underground. Now my stuff was safe from the horrors of the world. I had a ton of good stuff that I couldn't use because levels. Levels are the pain of my very existence. But I can make a bow day, so I did that. Then I spent some time gathering materials I needed, and I finished my house. Oh yeah, and I also have iron at this point. Like I had the levels to get iron because I had iron for like day 3, but I couldn't use it. And then I spent the rest of the night expanding my operations downstairs. Day 9, I started to experience the troubles of living on a swamp island. What is this guy? This ugly fellow just rolled up. A bit rude to call him ugly, but he was coming after me, so I exterminated him. Then more monsters started showing up one after another like some sort of Scooby-Doo movie, but instead of unmasking them, I just impaled them one after the other till my island was cleared. After this, I realized I needed to finish my basement downstairs. I started expanding and laying down slabs so that nothing could spawn no matter what. This place was going to be my safe haven. I finally made a summoning staff and I spent the rest of the night expanding. Now that the inside was at least a little bit set up, I could take care of the outside. And the Lukethenotable's handbook says to build a wall, so I built a small stone wall around my home. It's not much, but it's enough to keep most monsters out. Demon at my doorstep. There's a demon, don't mind her. Anyways, I finished up the rest of the day by building a staircase. If I'm gonna make this whole island my personal fortress, then I need to do a bit of work. So that's what I did day 11. I went through the outside of the island and I made it more secure. Every side has 2 blocks high, making it so any ordinary mob couldn't get up. Yeah, not a bad idea. I had a couple areas where I could jump to get on, but for the most part, my island was geographically secure. Day 12, I died again. I was doing a bit of exploring and this guy came out of nowhere. I tried to hide, but he alley-ooped me into the air and slammed me into the water like some sort of anime. And this is where my shield could only do so much. I had forgotten just how dangerous anywhere in the general vicinity of the sea was, because there's just serpents literally everywhere. It only takes one to literally just destroy your whole lineage. like this guy did to me. When I teleported back, he had moved on to some squids, so I was able to grab my stuff and dip. I lost a few items, but they literally didn't matter, I just needed to get out. I didn't let this get to me, and I kept going the next morning. I found a broken down house that gave me some experience, and I slaughtered a lineage of pigs. But then I heard, yeah, great, no, fantastic, and I should be glad it's just one. Okay, so it turns out there's not just one, so this is actually a couple of them. Their attacks were way too fast, and they just melt shields like nothing. But they scare easily, so I was able to kill one and the other scatter. Yeah, he was lucky. I was gonna hit him with the 1-2 and just die. That was the old 1-2 die. Yeah, that's a classic. I spent the rest of the day getting out of the forest, and when I finally made it out, I ran into a real battle tower, day 14. I had no second thoughts about cheesing this thing. It was a pretty smooth ascension. I only got knocked down once by a spider that came out of nowhere. But by day 15, I was on top of the tower. I had to take care of the real boss from a distance. Very dangerous guys. Then I yoinked some random guy that was just sort of hanging out on the tower, who must have been trespassing or something. Just look at this loot. I'm set for like 3 generations with this stuff. I was so excited that I just ran all the way home. I just bolted. No hesitation, I'm not taking any chances. When I went back out again, I ran into the Defiled Lands and what looked like a roguelike dungeon. I gathered some vines and I went down inside. This place was a bit creepy, and when I went down there, there was a cake just sitting in a room. I've had a couple bad experiences with cakes in rooms like this, where they just explode and they send me literally directly to hell. So I broke the chest and I moved on. I ran into these guys like 5 feet away, and look at these units. Look at these absolute tanks, which become a lot less scary when you just do this and you can just hit them freely. But then I found this, a bloody spider, and I know better than to fight one of them, so I just left it alone. But then a little voice in my head thought, experience, think of the experience, I need that. So I okay, yeah, so we all saw that coming. No one act like you're surprised. Like, no, oh no, I thought you could do it. No, you didn't. Don't lie to me, all right? We all knew that this was gonna happen. When I went back, he had despawned. Little bastard. Most of my stuff was there, and I kept moving through the dungeon. Okay, yeah, so, okay, yeah, yeah. So this is bad. Like, this is really... I don't know why I'm not just running instantly, but these guys can spawn very, very high-level mobs. Okay, so like that. So you see what just happened there? You know what, it's actually not so bad. The little stupid idiot couldn't fit through the door. Easy, taken care of, and just like that. They'd already despawned when I came back. But it still hurts, man. It still stings. I just left after that. I lost so many levels and some gear, and it just hurt. Lucky for me, I'm sort of smart occasionally. I was using the levels to level up as I went through the dungeon, and I came home and I secured the stuff I got. And now, with the levels, I could wear diamond armor. This is huge for an early game. I'm living large despite the losses. I used the vines I'd gotten from the Defiled Lands as a substitute for flint to make a bunch of arrows. Then I went back out. And look, it's some old friends. I'd hate them so much. And now I can take them. Or at the very least, I could fend them off for long enough to be seduced by a mermaid. Luckily, I resisted it and I was able to camp out under the stars. Speaking of the sky in general, you can't forget about who rules the sky. Dragons. I am at a point where if I see one, I just need to completely change my path at all costs. And that is, don't get attached to these dogs, and that isn't easy because they are everywhere in my area. They're like the dragon equivalent to hot seals in my area, except they're real. I found a couple landmarks on my travels, a camp with medical supplies and other basic resources, but I stopped at a battle tower. Since the last one went so smoothly, I was just gonna spend 2 or 3 days here. And I did, but I shouldn't have. Because I may have had an easier time just doing this thing legit. Every single time I made any progress towards the top, I got knocked down again. It was my nightmare. It's just like, why? Why? Hello? Please? Just a moment of luck. Just anything. Please. Please. And you know what? I got it. My big break. Because around when I got killed by the sea serpent, I decided to use some of the food that I had to make avian treats. In day 21, all that planning paid off. I had flung the tower golem off, but I was being attacked by zombies and cloud monsters. But through all this, I made it. And I didn't just make it, I left on a freaking rock, baby. Let's go! And this boy, let me tell you, this rock right here is a very good boy. He's a house pet, by the way. I didn't just do this for no reason. He wasn't soulbound yet. I absolutely refuse to lose another rock in one of these series. And let's just say that my record is it's negative, all right? This is definitely negative. But I made the soul stone and I got him, and Steven joins the family. Literally the next day I found another rogue dungeon. And of course I went in, but this place had another parasite infestation. I guess these places are like breeding grounds for parasites. Every corner I look around, I found one. And you know what? I'm not doing it. No. I'm not just gonna wait around for another level 3 bucket to come and spawn an ancient parasite on me. No sir, I just got my attack up to level 16 and I dipped. I could use diamond weapons with that, and it was another huge upgrade for how early I was in the game. But I didn't even make that first when I got home. I made another summoning staff because I lost mine, and I went to bed. Day 23, I started off by making that diamond saber. That would be my weapon of choice till I could get a diamond steel halberd. I was looking for more places to get experience, but then I found a floating lighthouse. Yeah, just sitting up there. I actually decided to make a pit stop for this because with this, I would literally never run out of iron. These places are literally made out of money, and I grabbed a bunch of it along with some wool for bandages. But I kept going the next day. I raided a small villager camp and there was nothing good in there, and then I crossed the ocean when I saw not only a beach serpent, but also 2 smaller serpents fighting right next to him. Let me tell you, this couldn't be better, right? I killed the first serpent, and by the time I finished that one, the other 2 were beach too. They were probably weak from the fight because the first one went down so easy. And then when it came to the last one, I was out of arrows. So I decided to play a bit risky. A bit, okay, yeah, no, that's about right. I deserve that. But once again, I got back to find the serpent gone, and my stuff was mostly there. The only other casualty was Steven, but he could respawn. After he was ready, I raided a ship and ended up in a village where I got some decent books to end off the day. When I got home day 25, I made probably my favorite bauble in the game. The Stone of the Sea grants water breathing, lets you swim faster, and purifies all water you drink. Yeah, so it's pretty good. Pretty useful, I guess, if you're into being overpowered. Then I spent the rest of the day just revamping my house. I started by expanding my space below, and then I used the blocks to surround the walls of my house on top with cobblestone. That was so a single fire wouldn't burn down everything. Not again. Never again. I was flying over the defiled land, day 26. I wanted more vines to make more arrows, but I found these guys instead. Bookworms would be huge for late game. And speaking of late game, no matter what happens in this world, I'll be continuing to play it on live streams. They'll be on YouTube, so make sure to look out for them in the future. For right now, I just marked the location and continued flying. I flew right into a village where, oh my god, this has never happened to me. I've never usually find this stuff early in the game. Having one item guaranteed not to break in rlcraft is indescribably good. I just needed to fly home and... okay, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah. But I did get home and I secured the book. And it was a good thing I did because... yeah, these guys, won't be easy, and now my stuff is out a far distance. So I made a big brain play. I made a hole and I dug like a little mole, like a little baby mole, man, and I snuck and I got my stuff. All I really needed was the summoning staff, and the boys would do the rest. It was annoying, but I took my time and I had the rest clean up by night. Or at least I thought I did, because something killed me day 27 in the water. I'm guessing it was actually a small fish, but I still couldn't see what it was. But it's just yikes, dude. Right now, I just needed levels. Luckily, the servant from before gave me enough to make armor, and I literally, quite literally, just needed levels. I decided to just run through another battle tower, but I could only find an underground one. I really hate these ones. Just awful, closed spaces with no escape, just the worst. And since I wanted XP, I had to fight legit, which is gross. And yeah, it was like I thought. This place was absolutely horrible. There were moments when I lost my sword, there were moments when I died, teleported back again, and just died again. There were moments where I just didn't care anymore. Skeleton rooms, baby zombies, and blights galore. But I was as tedious as I could, and I made it to the boss room. And I defeated the boss, or at least the boys defeated the boss, and I watched. And I got the hell out of there on day 29. It felt good to just be home day 30, but there was no time to rest. I finally made 2 rings of resistance, which I probably should have made before the tower. Anyways, I had everything I needed to make the sea serpent armor except for shiny scales. But that was just a couple of mermaids, and with the stone of the sea, that was just an easy trip. They didn't really stand a chance. I fought a giant serpent on the way home, and by fought, I mean I just sorta shot a beast whale. But to be fair, he did only drop 1 scale, which is literally insane, but okay. And I was home. The morning of day 31, I had my sea serpent armor. And what's more, I had an enchanting table. I had a little enchanting area, but the enchantments that I had weren't that good. And I didn't feel like farming for good ones since this was my first set. So I just made an anvil, and I used the books that I had, and I had some decent ones collected at this point. The Tide Guardian legs were better than the Dragon Scale ones, so I put Mending and Protection 4 on that, and then I put Mending and Sharpness 4 on my saber. And finally, I fully upgraded my backpack. And yes, I have a backpack because I wanted one, and rlcraft gives you a really bad one. Now that I can use armor, I needed levels to enchant it. Unenchanted armor in rlcraft is useless, so off I go again, and another battle tower just swept through. That is, until I fought a blight zombie. Literally the demons of this world that you forget about until it's too late. Nah, I'm not doing it actually. I just decided to dip. Not a shot that I try to take on a blight zombie in the open. I abandoned the whole tower. But I still walked away with 34 levels, so I'd call that a victory. I started enchantment farming day 34. I was looking for anything useful at all, but I ran out of levels quickly, so instead of farming and having to leave to get levels later, I just went now. But I was smart, and instead of looking for another tower, I just went for the one I already cleared that was near my base. And it was stacked. XP bottles and an XP tome. I literally could not have asked for anything more. By the morning of day 34, I had a full set of Tide Guardian armor with some very good enchants. I was going to disenchant, and I made a disenchanting table, but then I realized I needed about 20 levels, and I just didn't have that. So I set out on another adventure to get levels. My adventure led me to a wheat village, or at least that's what I call them, because they're villages, and they have a lot of wheat in them. And I was chopping down all the wheat in the village, taking away their food supply. But guys kept spawning, and they weren't any problem, but they were slowly wearing down on my enchanted armor. And that was a bit of a problem. But I cleared out all the wheat, and I decided to keep going though. And I traveled over the ocean, which I tend to do a lot now that I have the ability to fly without concern of many sea serpents. But I came across one of these boats, and these boats are very good. I got a new bauble, which is the Cobalt Shield. Very good bauble, very good. And a lifesteal book. Yeah, this is huge. Having this right now, I could put this on my Diamond Saver. This is huge, and I could take on anything in the world with this. And then I spent the rest of the day just traveling. I still needed more levels, so I kept traveling, and I came across a wheat village. Another one, and I cleared it, and I took care of that, and I stole their food sources. But I still needed more levels, so I went to a battle tower. And I cleared this thing pretty easily now. I used water, and you get strength with the Tide Guardian armor in water. So I had strength 4, and I cleared pretty easily. And while I was clearing this, I was also grabbing silver for the dragon's eye. I had my eye on the next set of armor that I needed, the dragon armor. Clearing that wasn't that bad, so I was home by day 37, and I smelted down all the silver that I had. I used a lifesteal book that I had gotten on my saber, and I also put flame on it for the parasites, because a lot of people in the comments told me that parasites are weak to fire, so I'm going to try to use that to my advantage. But now, it's time for Doom Likes. I'm finally ready to take on Doom Likes, and this is going to be a struggle. I need the Ring of the Fairies. This thing is one of the hardest items in the game to get. You get it from Doom Likes, and there's a chance of it being in the big chest that you can find in them. I went in, and I dropped my sword. I immediately dropped my sword, instantly, and there was a blight zombie, and I was freaking out. There were too many zombies, and I used the recoil potion, and I was home without my sword. I spent a lot of time getting back to where I was day 38, just trying to find out where I was and finding the Doom Like, but I did eventually find it, and I went in with a temporary sword, and I was able to clear out the zombies that were there, and my sword was still there, thankfully. If my sword had not been there, and I had just put lifesteal on it, I think I may have cried. I literally think I may have broken down crying. But I didn't have to, and I ran through the rest of it with ease with my new sword. And when I say with ease, I mean with ease up until a certain point, because it was the next day, and it was starting to get to a point where there were just too many zombies spawning, and my armor could not handle it. I didn't have Unbreaking 3 on everything, and my helmet and chest piece were breaking super fast. I was getting surrounded by zombies, I was getting pushed into corners by this huge amount of armored mobs, and I made the executive decision to just go ahead and leave. I had enough levels at that point, I decided to just leave. When I got home day 40, I decided to use the levels I had gotten on the skill Iron Skin. Iron Skin is one of the skills that you can get and you can invest levels in rlcraft. There's a skill tree that not a lot of people use actually. I invested in Iron Skin, which gives you some more resistance, and I needed this because I think it was time. It's finally time for me to kill a dragon. My plan was to use water and get strength that I talked about before, and to just get a dragon on the ground, put down a water bucket, and kill it with strength. So let's see how this goes. Literally easy mode. Such an easy kill. Literally probably the easiest kill I've ever had in rlcraft. This run, let me just say, this run is going really, really well. Alright, I usually have trouble killing my first dragons. But like I said in the beginning of the series, there were a lot of dragons in my area, and I had my eyes set on another one. But this time I wanted to collect some bottles, because I had only collected the scales on this one. So I made some bottles using the sand in the area, I smelted it up. And then I went up to another dragon, but this one was stuck. He was stuck on like a cliff or something. He was trying to get out, but he couldn't. And me being the genius that I am, I decided, you know what, it's nighttime, the dragon's stuck, I'm just gonna take a nap. You know, the dragon didn't kill me in my sleep, so that's great. I went up to him and I killed him. Yeah, it was easy. It was easy to fight. I bet you thought something bad was gonna happen. No. I am not that bad at this game. It was a bit scuffed, I'm not gonna lie, but I did kill him. But now that I've killed them, it's time to use the skulls to prepare to make a dragon's eye. I had most of the materials. The last materials I needed were carrots and some more silver. I was about to head out and go to conquer more battle towers, but I heard a bit of a noise. And there were parasites just living under my house, like right next to me. They were like living like right underneath me for who knows how long. I've been hearing parasite noises for a while, but this is the first time I decided to actually check it out. And they were literally just in my walls. Like, this is Attack on Titan. I just had these monsters living in my walls this entire time. Who knows how long these guys were in here? What if they had evolved? What if they had evolved into an evolved parasite and just broken through my house? This could have gone so awful. Day 42, I'm riding and I'm looking for any battle tower. I don't care if it's underground. I don't care if it's above ground. I just need a battle tower. And I stumbled upon this house before, and I don't think I've seen this house before. There's so many structures in rlcraft, I probably have. But I opened like 2 blocks, and look at this guy. Look at this guy just sitting in there. Look how menacing this guy looks. There's no way that I'm going in there. I literally just got on my rock and got out because there's no way. I'm not fighting that. I'm not doing it. But on the bright side, I did eventually find a village with some carrots, and the librarian here, he was selling a Supreme Smite 4 book. This could have been Supreme Sharpness. It could have been. And that makes me so sad. But I bought 2 books anyways, and I kept going. I found a battle tower, and let me just tell you, this thing is a breeze. There's literally nothing worth even mentioning in here. I just swept through it like it was nothing. Nothing could stand in my way. As long as I placed down water, even blights were nothing. It was an easy sweep. The boss, literally nothing. But there wasn't enough silver in this, so I decided to keep going. And day 44, I tried to take on an ice tower. What an awful idea. I literally could not move in this thing at all. I took down the guy off the top, and I tried to go into the actual battle tower itself, and everything kept melting. So I just, at the end of the day, I just decided to just give up on it because I just don't want to deal with it. It's just too much, all right? But as I was about to leave out of this ice biome, I found my first big dungeon. I love these things. The loot at the top of these things is so good. If you can survive the Vex, just going up there and snagging the loot is so easy. Or it would be easy if there wasn't this one singular wither skeleton with the ability to shoot fireballs that literally was like sniping me out of the air, all right? He almost killed my bird, all right? This guy, literally a sniper. This guy's Shroud, all right? This guy's Shroud's dad. This guy right here, Shroud's dad, all right? That's canon, okay? I did eventually snag the loot at the top. I think I jumped off my rock because I just had enough and I like actually went into the top of the tower. I grabbed some loot from the lower floors and then I did this. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing. But now I'm home and I had everything that I needed to make the Dragon's Eye. This is huge. Having this thing would make fighting dragons pretty much easy. But I had another problem. At this point, my helmet and chest had broken. But I had a solution. Dragon armor. The next level up from the Sea Serpent armor. The only thing is that I need more levels to enchant it. At the very least, I could put some stuff on the helmet, but I just had to put the chest piece on plain in order to go out and get more levels. Day 46, I'm tackling another tower. Like I said, I'm addicted to these things. They're just so useful for everything. The main thing I needed, like I said, was levels. And I cleared this thing pretty easily, nothing worth mentioning. I got the levels I needed, I went back home, and I started enchanting. The enchantments that I got when I got home were, they were decent, I can't complain. I usually get really bad enchantments, but they were pretty good. I got education on my sword, which is absolutely god tier. This makes it so that any enemy you kill drops more XP. And it's not like a little bit, it's a decent amount of XP. And the last big thing I did today was I made a new bow. Day 47, I'm back out. And I'm scanning the ocean for structures. I want a Doom-like. I want an underwater library. I want anything useful in the sea. But what I got was another battle tower. I'm telling you, these things are literally everywhere, and I just can't stop. I can't pass up a battle tower. It's just so hard. They just have such good loot in it, and sometimes you get god tier stuff. It's so hard to pass it up. But I did do something that's pretty big, other than just clear another battle tower. I took on a sea serpent in the water, and I won. All right, this is huge. Just having the peace of mind to be able to go through the water without worrying that I'm just gonna instantly get one shot by a sea serpent I still don't have that, okay? So I still don't have that, but I have something even better. After I fought the sea serpent, I went on land and there were some parasites there. And I decided, hey, I'm gonna fight them. I'm gonna see where I stand on the food chain. And I destroyed them, okay? I absolutely annihilated them. And you know what? I didn't stop there. There were more on a boat, and I went through that boat, and I destroyed advanced parasite after advanced parasite. They are nothing to me now. Welcome to rlcraft, parasites. You're literally at the bottom of the food chain. Doesn't stand a chance against me. But I am still worried about the parasite gods. I can't stop now. I can't take it easy. I have to be ready. Day 48, I took on another underwater Doom-like. The loot in these things is just so good. I can't pass them up because they're even better than battle towers. I'm talking shulker boxes. I'm talking amazing gear with amazing enchantments that you can disenchant. But there was still no Ring of the Fairies. But there was an enchanted medkit, arguably one of the best healing items in the game. Do you want enchanted golden apple that you can just eat constantly? That's what this is. It heals you, it gives you absorption, it is amazing. And if I could get unbreaking on this thing, it would literally last forever. Again, if I get mending on this thing, it would literally last forever. It would actually last forever. This was just a stepping stone for another big upgrade in this world. But I moved on and I came across one of these boat island combinations that spawn randomly. The loot in these things is really good just for resource wise. There's arrows, there's food, there's literally everything that you could want. So I cleared that, I put them in a shulker box, and I went home. I spent a lot of the day organizing, but I did decide at some point that it's time that I need to start moving towards dragon steel armor. And I wanted ice dragon steel armor, which meant that I needed to go into an ice biome and kill my first ice dragon. And I did. After I killed the ice dragon, I had a decent amount of scales. So day 49, I cleared a tower and then I went home because I was gonna switch all of my enchantments over to this new armor because I did not have enough scales with my current armor set to keep healing it up. So I needed an armor set that I had a lot of scales on so that I could keep healing it constantly throughout these 100 days. Also, and just a little side note, completely unrelated, I'm watching epic rap battles of history during this. I don't know why, I just started watching a bunch of them. I don't know how many of you actually know what that is, or like if you grew up on that, but that's like, what's your favorite epic rap battle of history, Like, that's a good comment to leave. My favorite epic rap battle of history has to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one, like the one where it's like Michelangelo, Raphael, and again, it's the artist one versus them. Or, another good one is the, I'm blanking right now, I can't remember. Just leave your favorite epic rap battle of history in the description below. You have to, okay? You just have to. Day 50 and 51 are pretty much like just grinding. I literally just cleared Doom Likes back to back, and then I cleared 2 battle towers in a row, day 51. There are so many ads in these Doom Likes, and I am sort of running out of durability on things pretty fast. I need some enchantments that are gonna make my armor last a bit longer because it's just not cutting it right now. But in the moment, that didn't seem to be my main concern because I'm in another Doom Like. This one was a bit rough, I'm not gonna lie. While I was running through it, the big chests, they got blown up. Yeah, pretty bad. All the stuff got like stuck in the core and I like tried to get to it. But what's even worse is that the second one got blown up too. Yeah, that's it's not great luck. This creepers are still just the worst mob in Minecraft, no matter what. I have dragons in this world, I have parasite gods, but a creeper can still ruin my day. But on the bright side, I have max heart containers now. That means that my health is at max level, which is great, but also sort of sad, because I was sort of hoping, it feels good to get another row of hearts, but I guess not. But I went home and I finished off today by making a new bow. Day 53 was literally just a tower, flying for a long time, and another tower. I need wither bones, because I need to make my dragon saber. I cannot find one of the structures that give wither bones for the life of me, and I can't find that other big dungeon that I cleared earlier, so I'm just out of luck. But I did find a villager sanctuary, and these things are big. Day 54, I went in, and I am hyped, because if you find one of these things, the librarian in here always sells an advanced book. Every single time. All the sanctuaries sell the same exact book, but it is always advanced. So I'm super excited, and I am so sad. My last book was advanced mending, so this is not great. It'll be great for parasites, but it's still just a disappointment. I spent the rest of the day flying until I came across another big structure that I haven't seen in a while. It's one of these floating islands. It's really cool, yeah. Has a bunch of lapis in it. It's a really nice place. It's got a secret storage room that has like a bunch of resources. It's really nice to stock up. But by the end of the day, I was in hell. Literal hell. I broke it down to the lower levels of one of the roguelike dungeons, and I was fighting off mobs with prop 4 armor. It was getting pretty bad. My armor is getting pretty beaten up. I'm still fighting the next day, and this place is flooded with water. As if it wasn't hard enough, I can't move anywhere because I don't have my Tide Guardian armor on. This place isn't giving me any advantages. It's just annoying. And to make matters worse, I keep losing my sword. It keeps getting stolen from me by this one mob, and it keeps getting stuck in the corner where all the mobs are being pushed in, and this is literally my nightmare. This is literally the worst thing that's happened to me all day. But eventually, I cleared the room, and I just went home after this. I was having enough. I had gotten a few wither bones from a few wither skeletons, and I just wanted to get out of here. With the resources that I got, I made my fire sword and bow, day 56. I changed the bow, and I spent the rest of the day farming for good enchants on my sword, but I couldn't seem to find any for that day. It wasn't until the next day that I actually got some good enchants on my sword. As soon as I got those enchants, I went back out, and I went back to the ocean, looking for anything that I could find. I found an ocean library and another Doom-like, and I'm still looking for that ring. I didn't get it, but I did get a Raikou, a new pet, a new pal. You don't get a name because I don't love you that much, but you're definitely part of the family. You believe that, I think. Day 58, I decided to take a break from looking for the ring to start focusing on the Dragon Forge again. I needed a level 5 dragon because I needed a dragon egg. So I flew around the ice biome and I was looking for any signs of a dragon cave. I found this guy in an attic. I found Big Al. And then I found one. The fight itself wasn't very hard. It wasn't very entertaining either. It was just a bunch of swinging in a small area. I kept getting pushed away and he kept trying to run away, and it was really laggy, and I killed it. And there were no eggs. And to make matters worse, to make my sadness even worse, this place was full of ads that were just really annoying to fight. There was a bunch of grooves spawning and a bunch of just annoying ads, so I decided to get out of there. My new approach to finding one on day 59 was just digging through the ground. I was just digging and F3Aing, looking for any sign of a dungeon. Eventually I did find one, but this one had decided to fly up. Because of that, this fight was really rough. They had flown right into a lake, so I was having to climb up the water to get out. It was a really rough fight. I couldn't ascend to the top because I kept getting stuck on the water cliff. And after all this, I still didn't get an egg. But what I did get was an attack on my life, alright? I was just flying, I was doing my thing, I was flying peacefully, and this ice dragon came out of absolutely nowhere and just swiped me. He just killed my bird for no reason. I didn't even attack it, and now it's dead. And I lived, and it's dead. I'm still looking day 61, and I found another one. And like the other one before it, it went to the surface. And let me tell you, this fight was actually pretty fun. And it was after this fun fight that I finally got the egg that I so desperately needed. I instantly went home and I hatched the egg. It hatched pretty quickly. I'm not sure if this is how it usually happens, but usually it feels like it takes a while, but this one went really quickly. And I named it Alberta. Now day 62, I needed bones for dragon meal. My strategy was to go through battle towers, and I flew for a really long time. I cleared a battle tower. I went through it specifically looking for bones, and I was flying for most of the day just looking for a battle tower. And then halfway through the day, I realized that I had bones on me the entire time from that island place that had the hidden resource room. It had a bunch of bones in it, and I picked them up. I'm an idiot. Now that I had enough bones, it's day 63, I needed to focus on getting cooked food. I put some in the smelter, but I needed to get more, so I enchanted a knife with Supreme Flame so that I could get food, and I spent some time farming food, but it really was not good at all. I tried this before and it wasn't good. I was hoping that it would work better with Supreme Flame, but it just doesn't work very well. I can't hit ads with my sword because it just kills them and it doesn't cook the meat, so I was hoping that this would be better, but the knives are just useless. But day 64, I had a decent amount of food, and look at this, look at my dragon, such a good pet. An amazing, big, strong animal, so majestic, but it still wasn't big enough yet. So I put it in the horn and I went back to raiding. Instead of getting scales to build the forge, I had a better idea. There were these like black boxes all over the place, and I knew that if I could get in one, they had pieces of a forge in it. But as I was about to start trying to get in with using ender pearls, my game started to lag pretty badly, and that could only mean one thing. And yeah, sure enough, there was a level 5 dragon, came out of nowhere, and just attacked me. I had to fight it. I tried to use it to like break the structure, but like it didn't work out very well. And it was a fight, and I killed it, and it dropped another egg, of course. But back to the main objective. I used about all of my pearls, just about, except for 2, and I just couldn't get in. I just literally could not get in. I don't know if I was doing it wrong. I looked up a tutorial. I just couldn't get it to work. But finally, on the last 2 pearls, I got in, just barely. And I was able to whip through this thing super easy and get the blocks that I needed. Day 65, I made the rest of the blocks that I needed. I did waste some scales on like making extra apertures because I thought you needed 4 because I didn't feel like looking it up, but it turns out you only need 1. But after that, I got it working, and Alberta was high enough level so that she could start making the bricks that I needed. And now we wait. I was watching over the dragon to make sure that nothing, came out and attacked her. You never know when an ancient parasite god will come out of nowhere and just kill my dragon. That would be literally the worst thing that would ever happen to me in my entire life. But instead of just sitting out here watching, I decided to make it some armor, so that I could like do whatever I needed. And I made it almost full diamond, and I decided to use iron for the chest piece. But I want to get more blood before the day finishes. And what better time to take my first flight with this new dragon than right now? I don't really like riding dragons that much, but it is still fun to a certain degree. Except I keep pressing the wrong button and falling off, but other than that, it's a blast. I killed some more dragons. I cleared out another one of those big dungeons. I didn't clear it out, I just like farmed the top chests, and then I went home. While my bars were smelting up top, day 67, I was checking rooms to see if there was anything good. There wasn't anything good at all. I literally didn't get a single piece of golem armor or any good like runes or anything. It wasn't great. But by the end of the day, I had everything made, from the bow to the halberd to all the armor. But I did make just a small mistake. This is a teeny tiny like, it's really like, you could like discard the mistake, like honestly, it's such a small one. I didn't have level 30 on my armor or weapons. Yeah, so I had to go out and start hunting again. But on the bright side, I finally got a Maroc. Yeah, day 67, I'm just now getting a Maroc, but it could have taken longer. It took me longer in my last series, so yeah. Hey look, it's a big town. Remember when I slaughtered one of these in my other rlcraft video? Yeah, good times, good times. It's getting massacred, but not by me this time. It's slowly getting massacred by zombies and parasites all over the place. At this point, I had cleared a bunch of towers, and I had all the XP that I needed, so I just sort of stayed here and explored a little bit. I did a bit of training the next day. Nothing great from the librarians. They were gonna die anyway, so it's probably for the best. But I decided to go ahead and leave. I probably wouldn't come back here just because, again, it is very much dying. But I spent the rest of the night just clearing another Doomlike. Day 70, still no ring, smile. But I did, finally, after so long, find a mega battle tower. I love these things. They are so good for loot and XP. I jumped in and broke through the top, and I got just an insane amount of XP domes. Just truly incredible. When I got home the next day, I started enchanting. I put mending on my helmet, and I enchanted up my halberd. And the damage that this thing did is absolutely insane. Just look at it. Look at the damage that this thing does. It is amazing. So day 72, I decided to go out and start testing it on the bottom layer of the Mega Battle Tower. And other than needing Curse of Possession because it keeps getting yoinked out of my hand, it just slashes through everything. I am going to put Arc Slash on it at some point because it only does target one enemy at a time, but other than that, it just one-shots anything in its path. A bit of a Doom like day 73, you know, but then I headed home and I got hit with just the worst event possible for somebody with a wooden house still. It didn't really do it much because these guys, they just get one shot, but honestly, it's more annoying than anything else. And I ended off the day by putting the final enchants on everything and getting the enchants on the new bow. But now, it's dragon time. Day 74, I spent all day just looking for the portal room. Literally, this place was a maze. I had to keep F3A'ing just to like find out where I am. But eventually I did find it. And now, it's fight time. Yeah, that was super easy. Probably the easiest I've ever done, to be honest. Struggled a little bit to get into a real end because I kept getting knocked off. But I did teleport, and I got an end city off the bat, and the loot, of course, was amazing. There are a couple things with mending in here, but I just couldn't find a second city. I literally just went one direction. I was going around on my map, just looking, scanning anywhere, but I couldn't find it until the very end of the day when I finally found one. Day 76, I'm home. And I need to enchant my armor a little bit more. I found a couple good books in the end city, so I need to put it on my armor. And I ended off the day with another Doom-like. If you can't tell, I really love doing the Doom-likes just because I need the ring. Please, for the love of God, just give me the ring. And I swear, I'll never do another Doom-like. Just give me the ring, please. Day 77, I put Subject PE3 on my halberd. It's a really good enchant that you put on your weapon and it increases the damage that your sharpness does. Yeah, it's really nice. But my next big thing that I wanted to do was fight the Wither. I had accumulated a bunch of Wither skulls and I had a bunch of soul sand, so I decided to just fight down Wither after Wither. Alright, that didn't go so bad. Next thing I needed was some sugar cane because I wanted to go into the nether and I needed to make golden carrot juice. That way I wouldn't need to just constantly drink water bottles. And another big thing is I put a waystone in my base. Yeah. By the end of the day, I had a decent amount of golden carrot juice and more, day 78, and now it's time to jump into the nether. And of course, what else do I want in here but a doom-like? Yes, another doom-like is what I want. I couldn't find one for a while. I went into a nether fortress that I thought was a doom-like. It wasn't a doom-like, so I left immediately because I only want a doom-like. And then I finally found one, and it had a wither in it. Yeah, great. It's fine. That was just one wither, you know? Okay. Alright, it's two withers. It's, Oh no. This fight went into day 79. I had 19 wither stars in my inventory. I came in here with no wither stars, and I have 19 right now. Alright? And there is still 5 wither health bars on my screen. I don't know what's happening. I can't see anything. I've had enough. I went home. I got out of there. I went home. I went to bed. I had way too many heart shards, and I just never want to see a wither for as long as I live. Day 80 was big because I increased the percentage of ancient parasite spawning because I hadn't seen one yet and I wanted to see how I'd fare. But after I did that, I decided to just go do a little bit of trading. I had a kingdom that I had saved on my map that I had flown past a while back. But when I went there, they were being sort of, I wouldn't say attacked by this dragon. The dragon was just sort of taking a bath near it. So I killed it and I was going to spend the rest of the day trading, but I finished up a little bit earlier than I thought I would. And I was about to leave, but then I found a new rock. The best rock that you can get, the upgraded rock. It's one of the best mounts in the game, probably close to the Moroccan on my personal tier list. But with this, I could do a whole bunch of things, like lift up a tower golem. Yep, you can just lift them up and take them wherever you want them. And that's what I did day 81. I just took them, threw them over to the side, and looted a battle tower. But Day 81 wasn't all great. I went into a doom-like, of course, like I do. And of course, I'm looking for the ring. I cleared it. It takes me a really long time to clear these things because I am checking every single chest just in case. Because I don't know how to tell which is like the treasure chest. And I finally do find it. And I open the chest. And it's the wrong ring. I am devastated. I am literally shaking and crying right now. Except I'm not, but like I might as well be because I am heartbroken. To ease my sadness, the game gave me another loaded bow island combination, but it didn't really do much for me, and I was right back to clearing doom-likes later that day. Day 83, I'm home, and I removed the enchants from the gear that I'd gotten, and I decided to make a shield of honor. Yeah, this thing could replace both my rings of resistance and clear up a bobble space. At this point, I had accumulated a bunch of baubles I wasn't really using, so I used this item to break them down, and I used it to make a dragon scale into a cracked dragon scale. Now all I needed was a non-cracked dragon scale, and I could make a really good bauble. But of course, day 84, I'm back on the hunt for a ring. While I was scanning the area, I managed to tame a Venturaptor, which I like these things. They're really fast on the water, and they can just like skip across the water like a rock. It's really cool. But then I saw this guy. And you know what? It's time. And that fight wasn't even close. I am literally on top of the food chain. He didn't stand a chance. I could literally fight these things any day of the week. I'm not scared anymore. These things that had terrorized me in the last 100 days are nothing to me now. Welcome to rlcraft. And you know what? While I was hunting for more Doomlikes, it didn't stop. Because I killed 2 more of these things together, alright? You remember last time when I got tackled by like 2 of them and I got jumped? Yeah, no, nothing. Gun down. Boom, boom, boom. Shots. That was it. In day 86, while I'm going through another Doomlike, boom. Absolutely destroyed another one of the advanced parasites. This one I didn't even see this one last time, alright? This one wasn't like invisible in like the last update, but now it's here and it's already dead. It was just born and it's already dead. I frame won this thing. But you know what? I wasn't done yet. Alright. I still have the rest of these 100 days and I need the fairy ring. I set out to get that thing. I've already completed all of my other goals. I need to get the fairy ring and I need to do a damage test. And that's what I did. I hunted for the fairy ring from day 87 to day 97, literally doing nothing. I descended into madness. My craving for power had corrupted me as much as losing to those other parasites. I wanted nothing more than just to see the ring. And on day 98, I got it. I did it. I got the Ring of the Fairies. But it's not over yet. I still need to do a damage test to see how far I've come. I removed the rlcraft damage cap, and I started hunting for the pieces that I need to fight one of the bosses. Day 99, I killed this random chihuahua, and I went to the end to get the scale that I needed from the Ender Dragon. And I made one of my final baubles that I'd have. This would make me immune to withering and poison. Then I hopped in the Nether and I looked for one of the dungeons that I need to kill the boss in. Found it, sweep through it like nothing, and I made the box that I needed. And you know what? I took it one step further. I made a diamond key. That's how confident I am. I'm going to summon the highest level boss I can, and I'm going to destroy it. It's day 100. Let's go.